Okay, so at the end of the last stream, I was having trouble figuring out why there was this edge condition where we fell off the HTML page and it started speaking what sounded like quote quote, and it was in fact quote quote. And I realized the problem, the root problem, was that the JavaScript function here, when there's an error condition, it returns what I thought was the empty string, and I guess it is the empty string. But when it gets parsed by the run JavaScript expecting result, the Flutter, the Flutter gateway function between Dart and JavaScript, what comes back is a string consisting of two quotation marks. And so I just changed this to be two quotation marks inside of two double quotation marks inside of single quotation marks, and that correctly catches the error condition. There is still some work to be done around making sure, figuring out correctly what should happen when we run off the end of the page, either fast forwarding or rewinding. The rewinding case is easier because there's never going to be an ID that's smaller than 0. Fast forwarding is harder because we don't know yet. I haven't recorded or encoded in any way the maximum length of any given HTML document. So all we know is that we get back an empty string, or rather a string consisting of a quote of the empty string. And so, but that error condition is anytime we can't find an ID. So if something nefarious happens, like there's some update algorithm of the HTML document that fails for some reason, we might delete ID 3, leaving 1, 2, and 4 intact, and we would get the same thing in this, and it would never play past the missing ID. That might be okay, but it would be nicer to be able to detect when we're at the end. One way to do that is to just encode somewhere in the HTML document what the maximum size is. There may be another way. Maybe once we get the element by ID in JavaScript, there may be a way to say how many elements are after you. But I'm not sure if there is, and I don't want to add a linear algorithm. So I'm also not sure if there was such a method, what the running time would be. So maybe we can look that up. I apologize, my keyboard was on, and there's like a high-pitched whirring sound when that happens because of by on I mean the RGB lights created some sort of oscillation that the microphone picks up. Okay, so let's see. Hopefully I'm still logged into Gemini. Okay, so let's ask ChatGPT, is there a JavaScript command in the browsers that tells you when you're on the last textual element of a page? So it's basically saying to query select all. I'm not going to do that. So what I will do is I'll just add in my HTML document what the maximum is. I don't remember where. I think it's here, test file. And where would I put it? Maybe meta. So meta has a viewport maybe we can look up the meta tag in HTML. Also, I have I have a virtual desktop I'm not using, so maybe that's where I'll put my music. I've just been streaming it to YouTube because I don't have anything set up on this for this user. And I have to make sure not to stream it in a way that people can listen to it because I'm not going to own the rights to any of this stuff. Hey. What's on 5? Nothing's on 5. I guess 6 is fine. Okay. What music should I listen to? We'll figure that out in a second. And we are going to be on 5. Or rather, this thing that you can't see, I'm going to move to 5. Okay. So let's go back to the HTML tag. Sorry, the meta HTML tag in particular. So the attributes are charset, content, HTTP, equiv, and name. Okay. So what? The meta tag always goes inside the head element and are typically used to specify charset, page description, keywords, author of the document, and viewport settings. It would be nice actually if the author had its own tag. What it doesn't say is are there restrictions on what can go in the HTML tag? Or is it just a general key value store? I guess there's like pathological length restrictions. Like I couldn't put the entire human genome in it. This is slow. You're slow, ChatGPT. Actually, let me I don't think it's my internet, but let me improve the internet here 1 second. Okay, ChatGPT finally got to the point and says I can include custom data. It decided lecture length. Okay, so we'll just encode the content as a string. And then we need some JavaScript function to get that string. And I'll just tell ChatGPT to do that. Write a JavaScript function to get the meta tag my custom data. And it needs a name. We'll call it get document length. And we'll keep it here. And what I've been doing, so we basically have to late initialize it. I don't really know how late initialization works, but I guess we can look it up. The late modifier has two use cases: declaring a non-nullable variable that's initialized after its declaration, and lazy initializing a variable. Often, Dart's control flow analysis can detect when a non-nullable variable is set to a non-null value before it's used, but sometimes analysis fails. Two common cases are top-level variables and instance variables. Dart often can't determine whether they're set, so it doesn't try. If you're sure that a variable is set before it's used, but Dart disagrees, you can fix the error by marking the variable as late. When you mark a variable as late but initialize at its declaration, then the initializer runs the first time the variable is used. This lazy initialization is handy in a couple of cases. Okay. So the laziness I can only use if I know what for example, the description is going to be. But it sounds like the main thing that late does is turn off some like safety checking, which is not what I want to do. I want a version of laziness, or rather late initialization, that has safety checking. So I'm going to just use the completer pattern, which seems a little bit on the ugly side to me, but I'm going to do it. And so what that means is we're basically just using the future async apparatus to say that this has some future, essentially like a promise that there will be a future value there, and when it's and we can await on it and check whether it's set, etc. It's a little bit like an optional, except once it's there, it's always there. So I think in an optional you can maybe delete the underlying implementation and make it not there again. Okay, and then at some point, once we load the file, we should figure out how long it is. So this is the debug function for loading the file. What we want is some function that runs when, in general, when a file is loaded. Okay, and so we have this thing that runs in on page finished. And let's just run it here. JS document length. JS get document length, right? What? Okay, and this will give some result. Can I do this? Document length, document size dot complete. Okay, no, I can't. For one thing, it returns a future. This JavaScript function returns an object. So I'll say final int equals final int doc size equals this dot as maybe int, and then I should be able to do document size dot complete of doc size. And I guess that seems like valid Dart. And now, somewhere, so in the play loop, we check if it's playing, and then I added this. So if the audio places at the current index is null, that means that we don't have any text. After calling load at this long load text at current index and populate audio place, this is the thing that has the check for the empty string, or rather the quotation of the empty string. And so if that fails, then we're really at the end of the document here. So I think what I want to do is move this check up one line, and it should really be a check of if current index is greater than or equal to document size dot future. And this, I guess, is wait, what? Okay, so we need to await it. Can I do this? I don't think I can do that. I guess I can. Okay. So if the current index is less than or equal to the document size, we'll set playing to false, that only sets the local variable inside the web view saying that we're not playing. So it does not in particular update the the UI. Like the play button won't move from pause to play, and so on and so forth. So somehow this information that we're at the end of the document needs to bubble up to the parent widget. And there are a couple of considerations there. One is that maybe this state, like the current index, should really be manipulated in the parent widget so that it already has that context. However, I think that I think it's nicer to have the parent widget be as dumb as possible, and maybe this logic can take place inside some sort of global that that both the web view and the parent have access to, and that would be fine. I think that's probably essentially how something like the get it Flutter package work. I could emit some sort of signal saying that play is done, and that signal could be consumable by any elements of the UI that need to know when playing is stopped. I could, when I create the web view from the parent widget, I could have the parent pass the web view a callback to let the parent know when something is done. And so on. Of those, I think I'm kind of leaning toward some kind of notification. And so we have this Flutter thing, notification class, a notification that can bubble up the widget tree. You can determine the type of notification using the is operator to check the runtime of the notification. Okay, so this has this kind of like runtiming type checking feel. I don't know if it's essentially, the notification is essentially a string. And here are some examples: scroll notification, scroll start notification, nested scroll view. And then we have some sort of implementation example. So this is a nested scroll view. That's what the child is. And then we have in scaffold, we have notification listener of scroll notification. So the notification listener, I guess, is the parent widget, and it has a child, which is the thing that's going to send the notification. And we have this on notification function. And when it receives a scroll notification, if it's scroll start, then we say scrolling has started, and so on. To listen for notifications in a subtree, use notification listener. Okay. So this is just like a widgety way to pass a callback to the child. So maybe that's what I should do. I should get used to doing the fluttery, taking the idiomatic Flutter approach. And maybe I'll use this as an opportunity to rename this widget here. It's called Lector Web View Demo. What should I call it? We'll call it Lector. I'll just call it Lector Player. And let's see if we can take this whole thing and move it to its own file. I'll put it in its own directory just to remind myself that it's not the same like level. It's a level above the web view. So where did I define Flutter TTS completer here? So I defined it here. I don't think it needs to be at this level. Should be fine to define it here. Okay, so that seems mostly good. Okay, and now this lector web view, I want to wrap it in a widget, which I think I can do from here. Wrap with widget. Oops. Not just any widget. Wrap with center, wrap with padding, stream builder, column container, padding row. What is stream builder? That builds itself on the latest snapshot of interaction with a stream. The stream must have been obtained earlier. Okay, so this is something that like builds itself with respect to a stream. And what does it look like? Where's the builder? So build, default text style, blah, 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 text align, colors, and the child is bids status with the bids. And bid status is stateless. And you pass in bids, and I'm guessing bids is the stream. Oh, that's editable. Yeah, okay, here. Bids is the stream. All right, that's fine. But I'm not going to use that. I am going to try wrapping it with some other widget. All right, we'll do that, and then we'll say notification listener. And it depends on some type, I think, right? I don't know if the notification has to be a certain kind of a certain kind of notification, like a predefined one. So here's the scroll notification. I don't know what this this is just expanded. I thought it said extended. So here they're listening to scroll notification. That's not what I want. I want an example of a non-existing notification. Okay, so this person defines my notification. Okay, so it does seem to need something that extends notification. And it needs a message, and you just incorporate the message. So I guess I'll start a new folder of notifications. I don't know how many I'll need, but we might need a few. So we'll put them in their own place. And I'll start with yeah. So can we also send notifications to the child? I'm not sure. This is from child to parent. I'll ask ChatGPT. In Flutter, I have a parent widget that receives notifications from the child. Can I also send notifications the other way from parent to child? I don't trust ChatGPT. Let's try Gemini. So notification listener is primarily used for child to parent communication. There are other effective methods to achieve parent to child communication, provider or Riverpod. I don't want to use provider. Value notifier or change notifier, callback functions, custom events, event system. I'll ask if there's channel-like communication. There certainly is between isolates. Yeah, what is Riverpod? I don't want to have to adopt a framework to have two widgets talk to each other. What is provider? It's some package. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so I'll just stick with my current mechanism to pass information down, and I'll start a new notification, which I think I just implement the class, right? So class play status change notification extends notification. And then I probably have to implement some nothing. I have to implement nothing. Okay. So I guess I'll just model it as the way I currently am. Int seek is 0. And then I probably need getters for these, right? I don't really know how Dart works, but we'll try this. And I need some on notification implementation. So I think I'm just going to call handle notification. Can I just do this? I think it can just do this. It has no implementation, so it's angry. And we'll just return false, I guess. Just to appease the type checker. I don't know what false means. Does false mean keep handling? Or does true mean keep handling? Notifications will trigger the on notification callback only if their runtime is of subtype T. That's fine. Wait. Didn't I click on notification? Called when a notification of the appropriate type arrives at this location in the tree. Return true to cancel the notification bubbling. Return false to allow the notification to continue to be dispatched to further ancestors. I guess I do want it to continue. There are no further ancestors, but I don't see a reason to stop the notification in case I add some later. If they want to listen to the play status, they probably want to they probably want to see it. Okay, so now we have this child. We have this handle notification, and somehow the Lecture web view needs to be able to send the notification. I don't know how that's done yet. Although I think I just saw it in the code. To dispatch notifications, use the notification.dispatch method. Okay. So dispatch takes a build context. Start bubbling this notification at the given build context. The notification will be delivered to any notification listener widgets with the appropriate type parameters that are ancestors of the given build context. I assume that it means that I call it in the build method with the context that's passed into the build method, but maybe we can see if that's done anywhere. Void dispatch. So in this example, we have what is presumably the child widget with some build context here. And they have some button, and on pressed, it sends a notification in the build method here. Okay. Maybe what I want is something more like a change notification. Change notifier, a class that can be extended or mixed in or mixed in that provides a change notification API using void callback for notifications. It is O of 1 for adding listeners and O of n for removing listeners, I assume. N is the number of, N is the number of listeners. Thank you, Google. I like that they tell me things like what the running time is in the documentation. Okay. So here's how does change listener work? Presumably we have some builder that's wrapped in some kind of listener. We have listenable builder with some counter notifier. This seems like a different sort of thing. So here's a list model that with change notifier. So we have this with keyword. I don't know if I've seen with before. So the get values, we're just getting this list as a list, making a copy. And then when you call add, we have this notify listeners thing. That's nice. I guess my concern with using the regular notification class is I don't know where to get the context. Is there just always a context? Maybe I'll just try using whatever ambient context there is. I'll extract a method here in the web view. No, I don't want to rename field. Okay, I'll call it stop playing. And stop playing will set is playing to false. And we'll also can I just get this to add a constructor? Oh, what if I do? I don't really remember the syntax. I don't want to have to. I want to see if I can figure it out before I look in the other file. So that's what? Notification must have a method body. What? So I have some class. Oh, I need to have curly braces in here. Is that what's going on? I wish it wouldn't complete my parentheses. I'm sure I can turn it off. Oh, first of all, that's not that's not valid syntax. I think that's closer. So we have required this maybe. This default we have to remove. That's not valid syntax. And now I think we probably have to say that these are what's. Oh, first of all, this is not a notification. It's a play status change notification. And then I can create these fields. Okay, great. There's all sorts of things wrong with that. Why is seek nullable? Seek should not be nullable. Maybe ints are nullable. Okay, so I don't know if that's valid to call it on the ambient context. I guess it probably came from the build context. Let's see. So this is a getter, the location in the tree where this widget builds. The framework associates state objects with a build context after creating them with stateful widget.createState and before calling initState. This association is permanent. The state object will never change its build context. However, the build context itself can be moved around the tree. So it seems like this is probably safe. And we need now a handle notification. Actual implementation instead of just returning false, which is what it currently does. Let's get rid of some of these extra files. And we are going to return false at the end, but we will get the notification if notification so if the seek is set currently, we're going to treat that as an error. I'll say child has set seek. Seek should only be set by parent. And this can, this can change if we change the design. But otherwise, we'll set the state of the parent is playing is going to be equal to the notification dot is playing. I don't know if we should defensively check whether the two are equal. What if I get a notification that we should stop playing and we're already stopped. And that might trigger a redraw. But I'm not sure. And something's wrong with my set state thing. Oh, I need an empty function thingy. Okay, I'll ask Gemini about whether I should in Flutter. In Flutter, I sometimes get notifications such as that foo is now false. Should I pass the new state of foo the widget redraws if foo changes from false to true or vice versa? Now I'm wondering if I'm just doing a bad thing in general. Maybe I should not keep a local copy of whether we are playing. Yeah, maybe that's the thing. Let's try that. So in lector player state, let's not keep track of whether we're playing. Instead, I guess let's rename this display play button. No, display pause button. No, is playing is fine. And I am going to check to see if this might be an anti-pattern, but it doesn't really matter, I don't think. Okay, so then if the notification is not the same as the local copy, maybe I could say this. Is that valid? And is it clearer going the Sorry about that. There was some sort of weird audio glitch. Let me verify it sounds not terrible. Hello. Okay. Seems reasonable. All right. Now, where were we? Yeah, okay, so we're just checking if it's playing, and if the playing has changed, then we'll call set state, and that's good. That's good. And where is the web view? So stop playing is called when we reach the end of the line. And so stop playing should also be called when we reach the beginning of the line, or rather, if we try to rewind off the face of the earth. Okay, so I think that so we have this inner loop, and I guess we have to do things in this loop, right? Because at some point, so we're going to say if current index is bigger than 0, and I have this guard here, I'm not sure that this is how I want things to be. So if seek is non-zero, this could probably be a while loop. And I guess this makes sense to just conditionally stop if seek is non-zero here, and then we enter the while loop. Well, seek is non-zero and current, okay. I'll remove this guard. So if we get down here, then where? So this is the rewind condition. And we are, we've rewound past the text thingamajiggy. If seek is 0, then we're at the beginning. No, we're not. We've seeked to where we wanted to go. But if we still have seeking left after we go through the text spans, then we check if current index is greater than 0. If it is, we have some index we can move back for, and we do that. And so then we go back to the beginning of the while loop. So I think we can add our guard at the beginning. So if we're down here, so if we're on line 122, then by line 21, we know that seek is non-zero and is negative. I could combine these and say while seek is less than 0. But I kind of feel like this is a little bit more understandable. Okay, so if the current index is 0, then we'll stop playing. And we will break out of the loop. And in fact, there's nothing to do. I think we're just going to return. And where is the other call to stop playing? So if we're stop playing here, then we should also probably return. And I think that's more or less the right, the right sort of thing. We've got lots of warnings. I don't think any of them are red. Whoops, don't do that. Whatever that was. So I'll try calling number. It was complaining that JavaScript was returning the wrong sort of thing. Okay, so maybe I can't get an int directly from JavaScript. Maybe I'm always going to get a string. I thought I had read somewhere that I could get an int, but I guess it doesn't matter. I can handle strings. I don't need you. So int.parse should parse an int, and it will, I guess, return an int. What happens if there's no valid int? If the source does not contain a valid integer literal, a format exception is thrown. So we're going to throw an exception. So I guess I'll do this in a try block. Then catch something. I don't know what we're catching. Probably the format exception. I don't know what the syntax is. Maybe something like this. Maybe I need to have catch of this thing. And then we can look up Dart try catch syntax. Catch E. I guess we just test for what kind of thing E is. Oh, okay. So we can do on exception 1. Okay, and then if we do have an exception, we're not going to ever complete the doc size. So none of this, none of the rest of this really makes sense. So I guess we're just going to return and not do the rest. And now for some reason, nothing is animating. I don't see any real errors. So what could be going on? Certainly when play button is pressed, that we do have the animation toggle. So that seems to be working. I did move the lector player into its own file. I don't think that's the root cause. And so when we toggle play button, we're going to call this on playing status changed. And maybe this is null. I think it's not going to respect my breakpoints until I run it pressing the debug thing. Will it? I could try attaching the debugger. It doesn't seem to be really attaching. I probably configured it wrong. So sometimes when the debugger is not working, it helps to uninstall it and then reinstall the debug APK. I'm guessing this is because I'm doing something wrong. I don't know quite what I'm doing wrong, but sometimes hot restart doesn't seem to work well with debugging. Okay, so now we hit the debug point. And where's controller? First of all, I don't think this needs, I think this can be a top level thing. So this does seem to be defined. So let's step into it. It doesn't seem to be stepping in. Okay, so I don't know what that was doing. Maybe it was looking at some variables. Okay, so we're done here because seek is 0. We'll set is playing to true. If we are playing, then we'll enter the loop while we are playing. If the current index, oh, maybe this is where it's failing. If the current index is bigger than or equal to the await document size future. Can I call await document size future here? Cannot evaluate. Yeah, I think that this is where it's unhappy. Okay, so we are getting the exception. I guess I didn't see the severe log. Okay, so unable to parse doc size. Null as int. Is it because I didn't say what the size was in my file? We have lecture dash length. Content is 10. Maybe I gave it the wrong. I'm not sure if I can do this. Print to the console in JavaScript, but I'll try. Is it console.log or just console? I forget. Console.log. Okay, I have no idea what's going on. So for whatever reason, this is returning 0. So if meta tag return, this should mean if meta tag is populated, then we're going to call get attribute. Otherwise, we're going to return null, but this function is returning null. Oh, first of all, it's not a function. So is that my problem? I don't know if that is a problem. We could try run JavaScript returning result or expecting result. So I'm calling return outside of a outside of a function. So this is just a way to get some data. I think JavaScript might just return the last thing. Yeah. Oh, wait, whoa. What? So it looks like I am, okay. So I can't parse the string 10 as an int. And I think the problem is the thing I get back is being quoted again. Is that the problem? Okay, so when I do JSON stringify, we get a thing that looks like it's a quoted string again. So this now may be double quoted. I can try calling this the toString method. Maybe I need to call toString to get it from like an encoded string to a regular string somehow. and it seems to still have the same problem. Let's just verify that by clearing logcat again. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm guessing I may be doing something wrong, but it seems a little bit weird that we have these quotation marks around the things, which I'm guessing is what's going on. So I could try. What if instead of getting it as a string, I think that's my problem. I shouldn't be calling. Well, let's test. That's one hypothesis. Same issue. What if I call toString multiple times? Yeah, okay. Okay, so now I think it's working.
4, 5.
At least it's speaking again. This
6.
is, that was some sort of bug. I don't know what that's about.
7, 8, 9. 3, 4, 5, 6.
There's like some sort of buggy behavior if I rapidly click on and off play.
0.
Like it skips to the end there. I don't know what that's about. We'll figure that out later. But now if I try to go off the end, it's at least not trying to play.
0, 1, 2.
And it starts at 0 again.
3, 4.
And if I start it,
0, 1.
and I go off the end,
0,
I shouldn't have done
1,
that.
2, 1.
Why is it jumping down to 10? It should not do that.
9. 2, 3.
But at least it, at least
3,
it pauses.
4, 5, 6.
What about fast forward? It stops playing too. Although now I can't play. I guess because I'm at the end and there's nothing else for me to do, but I also can't. Oh, yeah,
8,
I can rewind.
9.
Okay. So that's much better than it was. There's all this bugginess that happens when I like rapidly click play.
7.
And there's like a
9.
craziness about moving around. That could be a couple of things. That could be bugs in my rewind and fast forward logic. There are certainly going to be bugs there. I don't have a good intuition yet whether that's really what's going on. Another possibility is there's a kind of raciness around when things are redrawn. So that could be happening as well. And I think the best way to catch that, rather than me like clicking through and modifying the algorithm by hand, is to start unit testing the navigation logic, which I'm going to have to do anyway. I could also try running it in the debugger. Should I try that? I guess I'll give that a quick try. So when we press a button, it's going to call on item tapped. And we have on forward tapped toggle, play, pause, and rewind tapped. So we have 3 different implementations. What happens here,
0, 1,
let's start at
2,
0 and
3.
just press the button several times. It goes forward. It doesn't ever skip backwards. If I wait a second before pausing, it seems to do the right thing. But if I slam it on and off, it jumps down to 10. What if I just slam it twice? That, so if I slam it 3 times, it goes down to 10. So why would that be the case? So with toggle, play, pause, we are calling set state. We're waiting for the TTS thing to complete. And if this is not null, we're going to call on playing status changed with is playing. And maybe that's the issue, because each time I call on playing status changed, we are going to enter the play loop. And we are entering this play loop multiple times. I think is the problem. So we may be getting like different versions of the play loop. So I think the solution there might be to take out this play loop functionality and what? Make it reentrant, or really what ultimately needs to be done is to put it in an isolate. But where is it actually advancing the cursor? So here it's calling move audio cursor. And it's checking what if text span index is bigger than or equal to the text span's length. And so it seems like we're just incrementing this index if I slam the play button. The play button. Let's see if that's true.
0,
Maybe not.
9,
I don't know if the debugger is actually attached.
0,
Let's try again, restarting the debugger with higher confidence.
zero,
Okay, so it finishes speaking 0. We've got some sort of exception, it looks like. Invalid. Range exception. Invalid value. Only valid value is 0 or 1. For operator, like indexing into. So what's throwing that? Is this throwing it? Okay, so audio places only has 2 things, 0 and 1. And then I'm doing what? Current index is 2. So I think that's maybe the bug. So I'm calling audio places indexing at 2. that's null. I'm guessing that that actually throws an exception, or does it? So maybe load at current index and populate text bands is not working.
One. 3. 0.
So I do see here that even though I didn't hear it say any of these, I do see 789 in the logs.
0. 1.
Yeah. Okay. So it somehow thinks it's processing 789. So where is that? Here. Yeah, I think it's trying to speak all of these. And you know what? The problem is that it loops too fast and only checks whether we're playing once at the top. And so if we are, if I press the play button while it's down here, it will not detect that play has stopped. So I could do something hacky. Like here I could add is if is playing. If not is playing, we'll just return.
Zero. 0.
So now it seems like, yeah, okay. So we're still doing the same thing. And maybe what's going on is that is what? It seems like this should set is playing to false. But maybe I'm doing it too rapidly where I'm toggling it on and off. But if you imagine like toggling a light switch on and off like a strobe, then you will sometimes it's like observing this kind of arbitrarily, and at some point the light may be on, even though sometimes it's also off.
0.
But for whatever reasons, like it's logging these and advancing past them, but it's not speaking them. So the thing that logs it is after the stuff that speaks it. So, what? Why isn't it saying it? I could try adding to the. I could try adding to the text to speech queue instead of calling speak. Maybe I'm like just like destroying the queue here. I could also have start implementing the methods for on start, on pause, etc. I could try stopping beforehand and seeing if it makes it more likely to speak.
0, 1, 9,
I heard a 9 there.
0, 9.
Okay. So yeah, I think something like that's going on. I don't know yet the right way to. I don't know the right way to solve this. So I'll have to think about it. And I'm going to go ahead and stop there.